Hello there, howdy. Welcome back to Raw Gray Matter. It's been a minute. I don't know if you can tell. Got a mic. I showed my mom the other videos, and her main complaint was you can't hear me talk. So nobody's gonna fucking listen. I think valid. So for the birthday, she got me a mic. What a great woman. Um, but the persistent theme recently has been consciousness and like oneness. Like the past, like I don't know, like really heavily for the past week. But it's been like a reoccurring theme forever. You know what I mean? Like it's always a question I've always like thought about, and like doing psychedelics does help with that. Like going on that path of like questioning, I guess, right? But meditation and like knowledge gets you there too. And some crazy things I've discovered in my personal life recently through like the content consumption I've been doing, right? Like one thing's led to another. Like the path has led here. Um, and like through talking with like friends and like yeah, one of the things was the homie. Like I brought up something, and he was like, "You want to see what I've been reading?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And it was this document, and it's actually really changed. It didn't really change, but like helped solidify my perspective and like kind of gave validation to thoughts I'd already been having. Um, but yeah, crazy, crazy things. So back to oneness, consciousness, right? Preface this. So the paper the homie sent me was a declassified CIA document about the Gateway experience. It was like a assessment, right? Like a debrief of the Gateway experience, right? Like so it's like summarization. So it's really nice um, to get like the good information, the juicy. You know what I'm saying? From the source. But like in that they talk about um, like meditation, right? And like universal oneness, blah blah blah. And like all the cool things that come with that, like remote viewing, seeing the past, seeing the future, and not in like the way we normally conceptualize it. Like it's not a definitive thing. It's more of like glimpses, you know, or like that's the path you're on, you know, like this that's the future in this current dimension that's happening, you know, or like maybe in another one type thing, right? But it's more or less like you can get the rough idea, but you can't get the fucking like you can get the idea of where we're gonna go for dinner, right? But you just don't know the time, okay? But you know like the date and the place, um, right? And then I just ordered this book, um, that Astavakra Samhita. Yeah, probably butchered that, but it's what it is. Super amazing book. Um, that and that CIA paper talking about the exact same thing, um, more or less, but two totally different aspects of it. Like not aspects, but perspectives. Um, they're coming at, they have different, like they're highlighting different aspects um, of the same phenomenon. And then like, so this book, right, is like explaining it in like a spiritual, type of way. That CIA document explains it in like a rational, scientific, yet um, spiritual kind of way. Like even prefaces it in the paper by saying like um, you're gonna have to look at it with the right side of your brain, like the um, more like loosey goosey type. And then also been getting into a lot of like sciencey shit through the podcasts. Like they've just been hitting on great topics. And like from a scientific standpoint, we can see that like everything is the same material, right? Like everything comes from one. And even more specifically, everything comes from hydrogen. And the more things that are added onto it, right, it's transmuted and turned into other materials. And when you take away those atoms, it turns into other materials. And, you know, um, like what radiation and gravitation is, because there's only one force in the world, electromagnetism, um, right? And in that word, right, it's given duality, kind of like like the electro is like the force that pushes, like you know, away, and the magnetism, like draw it, and so it gives it the push and pull, right? Like it gives it force. There's this whole like fucking little whatchamacallit, little it's it's just like an infographic, I guess. It's not like as a meme, but it works. And shit, she went out. Um, right back to it. I'll try to like put it in I don't know, somewhere so y'all can see it, because it explains it better than I'm explaining it. But it's really neat. And so like that, and then um, listening to like the George Wiseman on like Brown's Gas and like looking into that, um, right, like that like proves that hydrogen, um, the base molecule, really is like the most beneficial, because it's so useful, because you can use it for anything, from like scientific, health, fucking agricultural, all kinds of fucking ways. Um, yeah, just just bananas, bonkers, but I love it. Um, and then back to the CIA thing, they had these things they were using, like um, tapes, right? Like auditory things to like stimulate the brain, more or less. And then it what they were achieving with the brain, with the auditory shit, is the same like results from like monks that like would reach like transcendental meditation type, you know what I mean? Like they were just speeding up that process. um and these fucking tapes are on YouTube, um, for free. Go fucking watch it. Gateway Experience, just the fucking first one, the orientation one. Like it's all you really need. But the 3 hour one is that's the ticket right there. Um, but just fucking put the little headphones in and get into it. Do it for real. Change your life. Um, do that again, but not worth it. Not worth it for the birds. Give it back to creation, I guess, right? Um, yeah, that's all I got for this one. Um, thanks for listening to me ramble. Uh, I'd really like to. I definitely do better with like an interactive dialogue. Um, of like explaining the topic, right? Like with somebody asking questions as I'm going, I guess. The other night I was at a party. Um, well, yeah, and ended up talking to somebody for like 2 hours before I even knew their name. And then when I found out their name, it was super synchronistic. Um, it's crazy, but just in that 2 hour like discussion, it started off with water, right? Um, and then it went from there to like Federal Reserve and like banking, and then to fucking what else? Egypt, to religion, to consciousness, to the whole gambit of things. Um, and it was super fun, and it was fun because it was like I don't know, the interaction and like seeing the excitement. I don't know, and then like she would ask me questions that I hadn't really thought of, and it like opened a whole new like stream of dialogue, and like there were so many other ways to connect that back, and then at the end of the conversation, end of the 2 hours, like somehow looped it all back to the original like water point where we started. It's crazy. It was a wave. um so yeah, I think I'm definitely going to keep doing the solo ones because got to. I think it's healthy to get your thoughts out because you have them and you need to process your feelings some way, right? um I don't know, I think this just helps me because like I have a stream of consciousness, you know, that just like happens. Like when you get into the flow of it, like the flow of talking out loud, like you you can really process your thought because when you're internal and silent, right? Like you're having a conversation with yourself and you're like bouncing around. But like when you're like speaking it out loud into the universe, like you can actually hear it and that can like make or break an idea, right? So you get, yeah, when talking out loud, you get a fucking stream of consciousness going, and then you can like see like how you're actually thinking and check that and see if it's rational or not, I think. And so if you don't have somebody else, fucking might as well record it because I'm talking like I'm looking at myself, talking to myself, but it's not myself. It's everything. all of us, I guess, right? Like that's why it doesn't feel weird. Um, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that one. Need a fucking drink. Thirsty. Agua's important. Gotta get into the habit of drinking water because it is a habit, almost like a safety blanket thing. Right? Like I have it with me all the time, and then um, I just be thirsty, and so that, and then like if I have it, I'm gonna drink it because like if I'm in a social situation, I don't really do with my hands. I drink water. That's a socially acceptable thing to do. All right, so I gotta do something. I gotta move. Like right now, I don't know if y'all can see. Probably not. But I'm like bouncing my knees, but I just like the feeling of like movement. I don't know. And that fucking back to them tape things. Um, it was like the feeling that I felt the the many times that I've done it. I guess like it's been a consistent feeling every time. Um, crazy, crazy, the best, absolute best. And it's 33 minutes, and it's all within yourself, right? Because that's all you need. All right, that's what we're gonna do with that. And um, as my favorite podcast says, I'm gonna, enjoy the present in the now. Um, do that shit for real.